let me tell you, everybody, every single person, right? Yeah, every person, right? They're out there, except for me, right? I don't do this. Every single person is out there competing, and they're all doing the exact same fucking thing, right? And they're all competing for the business, right? So I want to just tell you something. You know about this. The tradesman survival guide. You know about this, right? This is what you need in your business, right? And I'm going to show you now how what's in here can help your business in comparison to what helped my business over here, right? You can see the side of the background, right? You need to set yourself apart from every other competitor from the absolute very start, okay? Because once you start setting yourself apart, the price becomes the least important thing, okay? So let's just say, for example, it was a couple of years ago and you rang Insurance Works, okay? No matter what time you rang the office, the call got answered. We have people answering the calls 24/7, okay? Then I go out to meet you, or whoever's going out, but let's just say it was me, right? I go out, I have my wee boy houses top here, I have my name here, right? But this is my current day job here, right? I said insuranceworks.ie, had my name here, right? People knew who I was straight away. I looked the part when I pulled up. I'd be pulling up in my Jeep, had insuranceworks.ie on the side of it at the time, and I was dressed, so there was no confusion as to who I was, right? I had this in my hand, okay? I had this in my hand, right? So I'm going in, I'm standing there. If they look out, if they see somebody fucking knocking on the door or pressing the doorbell, right, and they're in the kitchen and they look out, they see someone standing here like this, blue folder in the hand, blue top on at the time, right? And then we get into it, right? And we start then, rather than just ask them what they want and taking out a notebook, then we took this out here, right? I go through a series of questions with them, right? Every piece of information I need to know. And when you're looking official, people will tell you anything that you need to know, right? To the point where I used to have to ask, like, what do you work at? How long have you lived here? All this sort of stuff. And a lot of it was for the insurance stuff, right? And it's not relevant to your job. However, we're setting ourselves apart, right? So I took all that stuff out, filled in all the details. I had my contract at the back. Show you the last page here. Contract at the back, last page here, right? I had them sign that, okay? Then I handed them this. I handed them this, right? And what was in this was my business card here. There was a leaflet here, a promotional leaflet. There was a little magazine about the business, maybe 4, 5 or 6 pages, okay? It's an old one now. Helped over 2,000 clients. I should actually say 2,800, right? And we gave them a ruler, right? Just something to keep, right? So when I left there, right? When I left that house, they had this, right? And if they wanted copies of contracts on, I'd give them a copy of that, right? So they had plenty of documentation. I used to give the ruler to the kid in the house while I was there, right? So the kid would have it, and people would say, couldn't find your card, but I knew your number was on the ruler in the kid's bag, right? So I left then, and they had this, right? So you picture this here, right? I've done no work for these people whatsoever, right? And they've obviously rang a couple of people, right? And also, look at this here. It doesn't say anything about all aspects of work undertaken, right? It doesn't say anything about general work. Do you have a leak, right? Of course, you've done a bit about fire. You've done a bit of burglary damage, right? That was our main stuff. Do you have a leak, right? Very, very specific, very niche. We were the specialists, right? So what happened was, I left and 2 or 3 other people would possibly arrive in after me, right? Nobody walked in. Chances are nobody walked in branded, okay? Nobody left them a little magazine, a little booklet behind, right? Nobody left them that, right? So what happens is, the husband comes in at the end of the day. Just picture this, right? Because let's say he's in work. Did you get on to someone about that leak today? Did you ring the insurance company? Well, I rang this crowd, Insurance Works, and I rang a couple of builders for quotes. Actually, I rang the insurance company, and they said get a couple of quotes. And then I rang Insurance Works and 2 other guys. So the 2 guys came out, had a look and said, yeah, I'll be back to you with a quote. But this guy from Insurance Works came out. He said, I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to contact the insurance company again. And he left this folder here. And he took all our details. And to be honest, I signed the contract, but he told me to ring him tomorrow to make sure it's going to go ahead, because he knew I wanted to talk it over with yourself. So he said he'll throw the contract in the bin if it doesn't want to go ahead. So Mr. Murphy, right? Mary Murphy is explaining to Mr. Murphy, say Barry Murphy's watching now, right? And the only real thing that Mr. Murphy has to go on is this here and the mention of 2 other companies that went out, right? And we're the fucking specialists, right? Who wins the job most of the time? insurance works. Why is that? Because we set ourselves apart, right? So what I've done, guys, you know I'm wrapped up in insurance works now, right? And I would never tell anybody. And look, we're a fucking building company, right? We're like everybody else. We're a building company, but we set ourselves apart, right? So what I've done is, because of all the work I'm doing here on Facebook, I've put this thing together, right? The Tradesman's Survival Guide, right? In that business there, right, we've done roughly €1 million worth of work every year for 10 years, right? And there's guys literally scraping up cents all over the place, right? Because they just don't set themselves apart, right? I have documented our process. Every single thing that allowed us to grow that business to that point is in here, right? And it is from the start. How to price a job, how to get the job when the client says it's too expensive, dealing with problem clients, how to find good staff, how to improve cash flow, how to generate more work, how to become a specialist, the most important one, right? The correct contracts to use in today's market, right? Because those contracts weren't the same 2 years ago, right? The correct quotations to use, right? Dealing with workflow from the phone call right up to the sign off of works, like I've just given you a little insight into it there. Dealing with late payments and how to avoid them, and how to avoid the risk of not being paid. This shit here, guys, this stuff is the bomb. I'm telling you now, you need to get this, because if you're a contractor of any description, chances are you are 100% weak at all the stuff that's contained in here, right? So if you want this, give me a shout. I guarantee you, it will be the best couple of quid you've ever spent there, right? Give me a shout and we'll hook you up. Send me a PM with your number, we'll give you a call. I don't even have the process automated as of yet to sell it online, but that'll happen there now in the next little while. This is the Bible for any contractor, right? Now what you get with this is, you get this manual here, right, which is whatever, a couple amount of pages in it, right? Every piece of information that you need is in there. Why is me light messing up, right? Not only that, then every chapter you get a video from me talking you through the chapters, right? Exactly. And then we do a private webinar where we discuss all of the details in there. So you can go away and can play with this for a week or so, right? And then we come on the webinar. You need to give me a shout, guys. I'm telling you now, if you are fluting about and not making good money in your job, there's a reason for it, right? And the reason why you're not making good money in your job, I guarantee you it's in here. I'm telling you now, I'm absolutely sick of builders and contractors busting their balls and not making any fucking money, right? I would never allow myself, this light is keep messing me about here, I would never allow myself to do that, right? So I expected higher standards for myself. I couldn't do this from the start. I learned it as I go along. This is 10 years that I'm in that business there, right? And what I done with that business even afterwards, I left there, and what I done with the rewards from that business, and I took them elsewhere and I put them into a property portfolio which is worth 8 figures today. So it's worth a lot of money. So guys, look at, I know me stuff what I'm talking about here. If you didn't know that I know what I'm talking about, you wouldn't be watching this video, right? So listen, give me a shout, we'll get you hooked up today. Look, we'll sort you out. We'll get it to you one way. If we have to strap it to a bleeding carrier pigeon, we'll get it to you, right? But give me a shout, we'll get you boxed off, guys, okay? The Tradesman's Survival Guide, trust me, this is the future for every contractor. I'm going to make sure that there's no broke contractors or tradesmen left in this city, because we're going to make them all up their game, okay? Take it easy, guys. Talk to you later.